This is just a classic song that I really wanted to react to. Her voice is unusual. The story behind her life is so extreme that it's hardly believable. If I saw it in a movie, I'd be like, this isn't real. So let's give her a listen. I have some things to tell.
Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. Ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non,
So interesting, I love this.
Non, je ne regrette rien. C'est payé, balayé, oublié. Je me fous du passé.
Her voice is so distinct, and there are a couple of things that I bet you're noticing. First of all, it's that rolled R, or is it rolled? First of all, there is a type that you're more likely to hear in Spanish, or actually in some Scottish accents. And this is where the tongue comes up in a kind of hook shape like this to make an sound. And then the air goes over, and it can be sometimes near your teeth or the alveolar ridge, which is that kind of little ridge behind your teeth. And that end of the tongue vibrates and creates that rolly R sound. Now there's also another type of sound, which is where the tongue comes back and the air passes over the back of the tongue. It's near the uvula, and that is that little bit that dangles down at the back of your mouth. The vibration now happens at the back of your tongue there. This is called a guttural R or a voiced uvula fricative, and it sounds something like this. Now, what one is Edith Piaf doing? That guttural is something that is more common in French accents, and that is the one that I think that she's using here. So, does Edith Piaf roll her R's, as she famously does? Kind of no. She does a guttural R sound.
Non, rien de rien.
It's so tight though.
Non, je ne regrette
That's why it's
rien.
deceiving.
Ni le bien qu'on m'a fait,
But the breath is so
ni le
bombastic.
mal, tout ça m'est bien égal.
Resilient.
Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. C'est payé, balayé, oublié. Je me fous du passé.
So why is she using the guttural sound? Well, this is kind of interesting because she doesn't actually speak with it that much, a tiny touch, and this is because it was just stylistically popular at the time. It came around with recorded music and it made that French softer sound be a little bit more harsh and cutting, which would come across on vinyls at the time, which wasn't the best recording quality, or certainly not up to today's recording quality standards. In fact, you hear many French artists from this period singing with that guttural sound. She also has a really fluttery, fast vibrato, and that's interesting for a couple of reasons. It reflects the guttural but also her name, Edith Piaf, is not her real name. Piaf is a kind of slang term for a sparrow because of her small bird-like appearance. And she really liked that image of this delicate yet resilient animal because that's what she felt like she was. Her first name, Edith, was her real name, and that was inspired by this amazing British nurse called Edith Cavell, who was executed a couple of months before Edith Piaf's birth for helping French soldiers escape from German captivity during World War I. And this is an interesting fact because of some of the history of her life, and we'll talk about that in a bit.
Avec mes souvenirs, j'ai allumé le feu. Mes chagrins, mes plaisirs, je n'ai plus besoin de balayer les amours avec leur trémolo. Balayer
Strength,
pour
even his
toujours.
quiet section. It's interesting. She maintains it
Je
throughout.
repars à zéro. regrette rien, ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal.
She has so much strength throughout. She's really resonant. Her breath support is great. You can see how much she's opening her mouth. She's allowing her larynx to lower or at least be relaxed and neutral, which gives her this big resonant sound, and that's surprising for such a small woman. And this is something that I really want to point out. It doesn't matter if you're a big human or a small human. Of course, our anatomy might shape our voice, but you cannot always tell by the outside of a person what's going on inside. Now, I would really recommend checking out all of Edith's life. It's so fascinating. But I'm going to tell you one story because it relates to Edith Cavell. Now, during World War II, Edith Piaf became really, really popular in Paris and sang in bars across Paris, including one where German officers and collaborating Frenchmen would go to often. Now, this did not look very good when the war ended and people started to call for her to be banned from French radio. However, after this, a member of the French resistance stood up and talked about Edith Piaf. And according to the French resistance, Edith Piaf had sung at many prisoner of war camps in Germany and helped the prisoners escape. So, a misunderstood woman with a huge amount of courage and resilience, very much like this song.
Mes plaisirs, je n'ai plus besoin de balayer les amours avec leur trémolo, balayer pour toujours. Je repars à zéro. Non, rien de rien. Non,
The song gives me so much
je ne
strength.
regrette rien, ni le bien
It makes me
qu'on
wanna
m'a
cry.
fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien.
I have one more story for you before this ends. This song was not written by Edith Piaf, it was written by a guy called Charles Dumont. And he originally wrote it for a singer called Rosalie Dubois, and it had a really different vibe to it. In fact, the lyrics then were, "No, I will not find anything." But then he thought, it should be Edith Piaf, and the lyrics were changed. Now, he tried to send other songs to Edith before, and it didn't go very well. She didn't like them, but Charles sent this song to Edith. He knew it would be right, and he talked to her housekeeper, who set up a meeting. Edith was furious. She did not want to have this meeting. She didn't like his songs, but he insisted, and she said, "Fine, I will listen to one song." And she was like, "This is the song I've been waiting for. It will be my biggest success." And she was right. Or at least it was one of her biggest successes.
Qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal.
There's no physical tension as well. It's
Rien
brilliant.
de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien, car ma vie, car mes joies, aujourd'hui, ça commence avec toi.
There's a reason why songs stand the test of time, and this song still feels so emotional, so resilient, and I like to listen to it as a reminder that we're gonna be alright. Before you go, I have just released my very own album, Fable. I'd love if you could check it out. There's a few songs available here on YouTube and some on Spotify, but the whole album is available on my website, bethroars.com. I'm super proud of it, and I'd love if you could go and check it out. But for now, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.